Hey everyone, what you just saw was the media kit for the Z890 from Asus. Um, you saw in the kit that we did have the Z890 Hero, the new Ryujin III 360 ARGB Extreme, and as well as some Kingston RAM and some ROG Thermal Paste. In this video, I'm not going to go over the Kingston RAM, but what I'm going to show you is a quick overview and unbox of the Z890 Hero and the Extreme. Keep in mind that the embargo for Intel in terms of performance, etc., all that lifts on October 24th. So I cannot go into certain things. Okay? So this is going to be a quick look at the board and the cooler itself. Now, these are sample units, so they're going to be a little bit different. They might not have the best packaging and so forth that your retail unit would have. All right? So let's get started. Right away, let's just lift the box open. We're going to go through this at the same time together. If you watched my X870 Hero video, this kind of advertisement on the box for the M2 Q release, Q slide, Q latch, slim, these are not going to be new. All right, so let's just pop this open. We'll go over the board contents, then we'll take a look at the board. So let's move this thing aside here. Okay, so in the box, slightly loose, but you get a membership card, quick start guide. We'll keep that for reference. Mind you guys, I do not have a manual. All right, there's no manual in the box. The web page is not even up, so I can't go into specifics because I'm not going to speculate. All right, so here we go. In the box, you get this is for the Q slide for the NVMe's. If you don't want to use the stock NVMe cooler for whatever reason, or you have a small M2 as such as the like a ROG Ally, those kind of short M2s. Okay, so you have 4 SATA cables. Let's see what else you get. You get thermal pad for M2 for the extended M2s. You also get RGB extension, a VRM fan, what it looks to be for a VRM fan. Yep, fan holder for that looks to go over the memory. All right, not the VRM, sorry, it goes over the memory. Bottle opener, another M2 pad, Q connect for the front panel headers, and more M2 pads, a ROG antenna, USB drivers, another Q slide, M2 pads. So everything here is the same as the X870 Hero, from what I can tell, in terms of package contents. So we'll just move this to the side here and get the board ready. All right, so first thing first, let's just peel off this plastic so we can get a better look. All right. Okay. All right, so let's just start with the board, guys. Sorry, I'm moving the box to the side. Okay, so for those of you that have been watching Asus Instagram, you may have seen the teasers, so this may not be that surprising, but let's get started nonetheless. You can tell that the big raw guy is a return. We've had this on the Z790, such as the formula, so a lot of this looks kind of similar. Heatsink is huge. You have the Maximus on the side. That's not to be unexpected, but it is larger, more bold than before. So let's start from the top. Right away, the heatsink is different. It's definitely larger. The heatsink feels large. It looks larger than the Z790 by quite a bit. And the Z790 was so close to the Z890. This is almost the same size as, this reminds me of the BTF heatsink in terms of sizing for the Z790 Hero BTF. You get 2 8-pins, CPU optional, AIO, and then channel fan, ARGB, start, flex key, 24-pin, 8-pin PCIe. This is most likely for one of these ports for the 60-watt charging. I'm going to assume it's 60 watt because that's what the Crosshair Hero is. And then you get a USB 3 header, 4 SATAs, and then you have a slim SAS, that's X4, and then you have front panel. Is that a flex key? I think it's a flex key. Not a flex key, I mean it's safe boot. Then a temp sensor. Yeah, retry button. temp sensor, channel fan, water pump header, water pump PWM, USB 2, another USB 3, channel fan. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically 6. Okay, so technically 6 fan headers for you to control separately. 2 more ARGBs, so that makes 3. What is that? Thunderbolt 4 USB header. Okay, and you get a PCIe mode switch, and also front panel audio and a CPU over voltage. Now, one thing you'll notice that this slot seems to be the only slot that has the slim Q release. This one does not, which is kind of surprising. On the Crosshair Hero, we had both of them be the Q slim release. You got another X4 over here, and let's take a look at the rear. Okay, not the rear, but the side rear. BIOS flashback, clear CMOS, HDMI out. So I think only the Extreme boards, they cut off the iGPU output. 2 Thunderbolts, 10 gigabit, 2.5, and a 5 gigabit. What was that? 4 5 gigabit USBs. Another 2 10 gigabit USBs, I assume. 10 gigabit USB-C, Wi-Fi 7, and your optical out, line out, and mic in. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Supreme FX, there should be a DAC. Is there a DAC on this board? Okay, I'm not seeing it, but it should have it. Someone here. Let me see the box. So I don't see it on the box either. Okay. Anyway, so I'm not allowed to power it on, so I can't show you guys the graphic under the acrylic here. But you've probably seen it on the ROG Instagram. It just says ROG. On the back, you do get a back plate, which is super nice. For those of you who don't know, these are the coordinates for ASUS HQ. Let's see. And you also get this, let's see, 1, 2, you know, how many M2 slots? You get 6 M2 slots. All right. So according to the back of the box, the top slot runs at 16 or X8 or X4 or X4. So I'm assuming if you populate this, this runs at X8. Probably one of these M2s is going to make this thing run at X8 as well. So the fact that this also runs at X4 means that multiple M2s will result in this probably coming down to X4 possibly. Okay. Without the manual, there's no real way to tell. But let's just remove the cover. If I'm allowed to do that. I don't even know if I'm allowed to do that, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, so let's pop this off. You know, one thing I do wish ASUS would start using on their boards is, you know, this kind of lighting. If you look at some of the other manufacturers, they do have some type of lighting mechanism with a magnetic connection. But anyway, I digress. So let's take this off too. This is a Q release one. So, wow, that comes up. That's chunky. Look how chunky that is. That's a chunky boy. Okay. It doesn't light up or anything though. So you have a Q slide already installed here. You can see that it just slides off, right? So you can attach. So obviously this is going to accommodate a longer NVMe, right? So, what? Wow, that's 6. Yeah, that is 6. Oh, that's quite a bit over there. Obviously I don't know what sacrifices you would have to make to populate all 6, but when we get the manual on October 24th, we can talk more about this when we talk about everything else. Then at that point we will know. So let me put this back on. So you guys have an idea. I'm going to play some B-roll of the board at the end of the video so you guys can get a better look. I'm sure this is what everyone came to see. But yeah, so that wraps up the board pretty much. I'm just going to put it aside and just look at the cooler now. Alright, so moving the board aside. Sorry guys, rolling as we're going. Alright, so let's get all this out the way. Alright, so this is going to be the Ryujin III 360 Extreme. Now, if you're wondering why is there an Extreme, I guess it's probably because there's another version of the Asetek Gen 8 pump, right? And I think there are some screen upgrades to this, so it's not just like, your regular Ryujin. There's going to be some differences. This is obviously not a retail sample, so don't expect packaging to be perfect. Alright, so you're going to get the daisy chain magnetic fans. These are clearly different than the Ryujin fans, the previous Ryujin 3 fans. They are thicker. I feel they're thicker. Okay, so they seem to be thicker on the corners, but let's find out. So I believe the other fans are 25 millimeter. These are thicker. These are like 27 millimeter. All right. So they're 27 millimeter fans. If you want to count the edges, they probably go to 30. All right. So they're 30 at the grommets. All right. So keep that in mind. So there's going to be 3 of these. For those of you who don't own a Ryujin, they come with daisy chain magnetic fans. I'll just set up 2 of them so you guys get an idea. And they go on. So there's one end that comes in. Where is it? Where's the female end? Okay, so there's a notch. So once it goes in, it's not going to unlock. It's not going to, slide off. That's a smart design. But those are the fans. Well, they're pretty nice. So from my understanding, there's going to be a non-ARGB variant that's going to use the Noctua industrial fans. Just like on the regular Ryujin 3, you have that option. So let's take a look at the cooler itself. All right. So here's the cooler. I also can't go into the performance of this object, of this cooler, either, because that's also under embargo. But let's just take a look here. All right. So before we look at the I/O, membership card, anything else? Stickers, mounting hardware, the magnetic cables for the fans that have the, let's see, oh, these are nice. There's motherboard control. Yeah, nothing really new here in terms of the mounting. It's not to be unexpected. So let's take a look at the cooler itself. Alright. Sorry for the crinkling noise, guys. This really... Yeah, this unit was definitely opened before. Because the seal was cut. I don't know for what, but we'll find out. Ooh, it's coming apart on me. Okay. Alright, so let's see. Alright, I guess I'm removing the plastic. Alright, okay. Sorry, guys. Alright, so right away, this is going to be a little bit different. You know what? 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can grab something here for you. To make it easy, I don't have a Ryujin 3 on hand, but I do have the ROG water block, which I've done a video on. It's pretty much the same thing as a regular Ryujin 3 block, minus the pump inside. Okay, so if we bring this puppy out. Okay, so this is what the regular Ryujin 3 looks like. Okay. And this is the Ryujin 3 Extreme. Alright. So I think there's a resolution bump on the screen, but you can see the design is slightly different. Let me see, look at the cover. Are they interchangeable? The cover does feel... Let's see, is that controller the same? So there's obviously some differences with the controller board, as you can tell. Right? So I don't know what... maybe that comes into additional functionality. But the controller board is different for the display. And it does seem like, compared to this, the Extreme does feel more sturdy. Let's see if I can notice any other differences. Alright, so obviously the installation might be a little bit different. I don't remember the regular Ryujin 3 having these screws, spring-loaded screws pre-installed. So this is actually new. I can't tell the cold plate, and I'm not going to take it apart. And I don't think I can take it apart at the current moment. But yeah, so I'm curious to see. Can I read that pump? I'm trying to read the pump. Okay, it looks, just from looking at it from here, it looks slightly different than, without taking it apart, I can't really tell. But let's see, is the spacing the same? Spacing is the same. Okay, so this part's all the same. So the housing unit around the pump is going to be exactly the same. So whatever Ryujin adapter, if you guys are into water cooling with the custom adapters for Ryujin, and you don't have the block, you're probably going to be able to use it here too. Let's see what else. So it does have a USB 3 header and the PWM. Okay. I'm sorry, USB 2, guys. I wonder when they're gonna move these things to USB-C. Let's see. Let's just go back on. Alright. Too much. One of the sides. Okay. So I can't turn it on for you guys, unfortunately. So we're just gonna have to look at it from this perspective. Alright, so let's take a look at the radiator itself. I feel like I'm doing a really poor job putting this thing back together. Okay, so let's look at the radiator. So I like ASUS always puts these protectors on the rads. Doesn't seem like anybody else does this. That's super nice. It says, yeah, so is this going to be any thicker? Let's see. So the rad is a hair under 30. Okay. So with the fans together, I think you're looking at about 58 millimeters of space in your case, right? With the grommets and the thicker area. So keep in mind, 58 millimeters if you want to pick this up. Price-wise, I don't know. Just like the board, I also don't know. But given what I see on the board, given what I see here, if you guys know the X870E pricing hero is about $700, I would assume and expect the Intel variant Z890 to be fairly similar. As for the cooler, the regular Ryujin 3 is on sale sometimes around 300, normally about 350 to 300. The Extreme is obviously going to come in a little bit more than that, so that's also not going to be too surprising. One more thing we'll take a look at is the ROG Paste. Okay, this has been out. I personally have never had it, and I don't think many people have had it, so let's take a look. It's a nice presentation. You get some nice ROG branding. Performance-wise, I haven't tested it. I can't speak to that. Inside the box, you also do get a spreader, some cleaning wipes, and you get the thermal paste overlays that you can just stick on the chip and then make the thermal paste. I've seen the advertisements for it. Personally, I haven't tried it. I'll give it a shot. It's cute, but it is what it is. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up, guys. I'll throw in some B-roll, like I said, of the motherboard after this, and come by the 24th. Hopefully, I will not only have a build done for you guys that's on custom water. I will also try, depending on how fast I can get the chip, I will try the AIO as well. All right, I'll buy a chip on launch anyway, no matter what, aside from whatever I may receive or may not receive. But yeah, so that's a quick look at the Hero. I'm looking forward to the Extreme and the Apex the most. The Extreme looks amazing. But obviously, guys, like I said, when you have the Hero coming in with 6 M2 slots and having dual LAN, it's really hard to see what the Extreme is going to offer you outside of, I mean, for power delivery, this is already overkill, right? So it's hard to see what the Extreme will bring outside of, improved aesthetics, probably 10 gigabit LAN and the LCD screen, obviously. But yeah, for those of you that guys are wondering, why is there no 10 gigabit? Well, 10 gigabit, I think, is still not very mainstream yet. And you may make the argument at this, whatever price point this is going to be a 10 gigabit. But, it is what it is, right? I can't speak to those decisions. You also forgot to mention, you do get the Nitro Path memory here. And yeah, so that pretty much sums it up for this video. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you very soon.